The people making Monaco take the mic. I'm Nancy Heslin, and welcome to Monaco Info, the podcast. Our guest today's life reads like a movie script. Born in London, her mother is a British screenplay writer and her dad an American film producer who worked with the Beatles. Her brother is a Hollywood photographer and her stepbrother actor was just nominated for his 6th Emmy Award. Yet the bilingual founder of Pink Ribbon Monaco has built her own success. She's addressed the United Nations in New York, is a business partner with Formula One's Valtteri Bottas, and she was awarded the St. Charles Cross by Prince Albert. Welcome, Natasha Frost-Savio. Hi, Natasha. Welcome to Monaco Info, the podcast. Thank you for coming on the show.
Hey, Nancy. Thanks for having me.
One of the things I was trying to squeeze in there was that you were this kid in a candy shop. Literally. It's kind of hard to write that, though, in an introduction. Can you tell people how true and literal that is?
Oh, it's very literal. When my family, with my mother, when we left London, after a few years in Beaulieu-sur-Mer, my mother met a lovely man who became our stepfather. And he was and still is the owner, third-generation owner of a sweet factory just outside of Nice called Nice Bonbon.
So you had a lot of friends in school then?
Yeah, I was a good friend to make.
But you had a pretty cool thing then because your stepdad owned the candy shop and your father was this guy in film. And I'm sure people just wanted to be around you because you were just one of these cool kids.
Yeah, we purchased our cool... No, we really were cool kids. We were sort of... back then, there weren't that many, I'd say, foreigners. And we were, these kids, half American, half English, in a small town, French seaside school. And we'd just go into school some days on our birthdays, especially with suitcases of candy. And then periodically, my father would send us some things from Los Angeles. And we had... one of the biggest hits, I think, was when we were much younger, was when Superman came out, the original Superman with Christopher Reeves. And he got us all personally dedicated photos signed by Christopher Reeves.
By Superman?
Yeah, in the
Wow.
real Superman. And we were just the bombs. It was so cool.
So have you done any podcasts or is this your first podcast?
No, this is my first podcast.
Are you a fan of podcasts?
I love podcasts. I've got to the point now where I really look forward to having long trips. Well, I guess in Monaco, a long trip is like over an hour. And
To go 1 kilometer.
Yeah, that's with the traffic. But, in Los Angeles, when I was living in Los Angeles, that was not even a commute.
Right.
But no, I love putting on a good podcast and really sinking into it. And
What do you listen to?
I'm a nerd, so I'm a real nerd. I love history podcasts. I've listened to this podcast called Gone Medieval, which is funny and smart and instructive, if you could say that. Yeah, instructif.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love it. I get really into it. I was just listening to one before I came here, so I'll try and restrain myself from some of the fruity language I heard there.
What is it about the platform of podcasts that appeals to you?
I think it's sort of taken off from where a certain type of person would sort of sink back into an audiobook. But this is more, I think it's more personal. It's a much more personal contact you have with the subjects that you really like. And you're listening to people who are experts at their field. It's like that sort of masterclass thing. Mm-hmm. You can choose but you completely immerse yourself into your favorite subjects or stories or any kind of subject that really you get intimate. I think it's that intimacy, which is really special in podcasts.
Do you still read a lot? Because I remember once you told me that you were an unabashed bookworm. I figured out how to speed read digitally around 12.
Well, I was trying to get through as many books as possible because, I was seriously, I was a geek. But I do read a lot still, but I don't read as much as I used to. There's too many things going on. I mean, when I was younger, I could just go in my room. Big family with 5 kids. So I just get to be left alone. But now, I'm the mom, so I have to make sure everything's okay. And sometimes that have to put aside some of my reading for that. It's a special... Reading's now a treat, really.
But what was it about that world? Did someone in your family just keep feeding you books? Or was your mom an avid reader? Where did that come from for you? Well,
originally, my grandmother on my mother's side she'd always feed me books. But it was more historical. It was Antonia Fraser, Henry VIII books. So that got me into also completely obsessed with Tudor history. but a predilection for historical novels when I was younger. But no, I just always loved reading. It took me away from noise into a different world. And I guess if you have a vivid imagination, you can literally become someone else for a little period of time and get really close to the characters. And putting down a really great book, where you've really got absorbed. It doesn't have to be top literature. It can be anything like an airport novel. But when you get really immersed in that book, it's like this special feeling that all bookworms will appreciate. And you always try and find that feeling with when you start a new book.
Do you have a book, or are there books that you still look back on and they're your favorite, or do you kind of have that relationship where you've read it, done it, move on?
No. There's some books are old friends, and you have to, drop by and visit the characters every now and then. And I got some. I mean, it's like asking what my favorite song is, but it's tough. But yeah, I do have some go-tos. I remember some of the books that changed my life was in no particular order. There was a Movable Feast, which I absolutely love. I mean, that completely destroyed Paris for me. And No Exit changed my life. That's obviously a play, but it just blew my mind when I think I read it when I was like 14. And then there's Zola. Anything by Zola. He's my for me, he's one of the best writers ever. The realism, the rawness, the feelings. But Thérèse Raquin in particular, I mean, that is, and you have to reread it as time goes by, because you just get all different layers of evilness or guilt or passion, it's fantastic.
Do you have the same relationship with films? Do you feel the same way when you watch a film? Do you get as involved, and then at the end, do you feel satisfied? I mean, your father worked in the industry, so I was wondering if that's part of it.
Well, I'm a horrible person to watch a film with, as my husband could tell you, because, I mean, I can't stand noises. I have to be in the film. If people, stop the film and rewind it, I will go berserk. That is a no. I got that from my dad. We'd go to the movie theaters, and if someone was eating popcorn... that was not good. If someone ate popcorn next to him, my dad would pretty much tell him what he thought of him.
So how did your parents meet and your dad get into film and this little bit of your backstory? Because, I often feel that the names in Monaco, like yourself, because you are part of Pink Ribbon, you are the woman that founded this nonprofit association. I don't know how much people really know about the characters like yourself. So let's dig into this a little bit. You were born in London.
Yes.
Your mom was British, your dad American.
Yep.
You're completely bilingual, though, which always throws me off, because is she English? Is she French? How did your parents meet?
Well, my father was visiting London. He was working with Pinewood. He was part of United Artists. And obviously my mother was writing and bombing around London on a little monkey bike and being very, very trendy. And I think they met at Annabelle's or someplace like that. I can't remember exactly.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, it was one of those clubs. And I think one of the first stories that what really got them to start chatting together was because they're both born on the same day, a 10 years interval, but they're both born on St. Patrick's Day, which is...
Wow.
Yeah, it was so that became a conversation piece for them. And then, my dad in the film industry, my mother was writing, so screenwriting, and 3 children in rapid succession. And that was the beginning of a love story.
And he was just in London with United Artists at that time?
Yes, he was. He started off as a photographer, and he obviously got into the film industry slowly because of that. Like, I'd say obviously, but it's not obvious. And he was sent over to discuss the fact that the first James Bond had just been green-lighted by the studio. So he went to London to inform the guys in the Dorchester, I think it was, that they could take a deep breath now and breathe easy, because the film would be done, and it would be done in color. That was big scoop. And he has some great stories of that time.
Did he ever talk about the Beatles? Because he did work on the films with the Beatles?
Well, my dad got to be really good friends with Walter Shenson. Mm-hmm. He was the director of the Hard Day's Night. And that obviously brought the Beatles to the US. It was a big thing for anybody who's a Beatles fan. They'll understand the significance of A Hard Day's Night. So yeah, my dad was working on that as I think he was a publicist or something. It was sort of some low level thing, but because of that, thanks to that, he got a whole new traction in the industry, and he was around when they were doing the Yellow Submarine, and we got some stuff from that actually at the house, and little cutouts.
I mean, I've known you for many years, and every time you talk about your dad or your mom or your brother or stepbrother, anyone, you make sure that they get the credit due. You make sure that people understand how much you respect and you're just so proud of them. And I love that. For you growing up, were you aware of how cool your dad was?
Yeah. I mean, for me, I remember him picking us up at school in London, and he was already then the coolest dad for me. He was always a figure, a super character and louder than life, but he still is. I mean, he still is. People gravitate to him, and there's never a dull moment, ever.
You didn't want to ever go into film? You didn't want to be on the big screen or be a scriptwriter or any part of that?
Well, I mean, when I was younger, sure, yeah. I mean, actually, funnily enough, I just found the other day a photo of Noah and I. When we were kids, I think I was 11 or 12 and he was 14.
Do you want to just explain who Noah is?
Oh, Noah Wylie. He's my stepbrother. So
Okay.
we pretty much spent every holiday together because he was in Los Angeles and my mom would send us over. But we would always get up to playwriting, and we specifically wrote this one play, and I found a Polaroid. I found a Polaroid the other day, and it's just so weird because, he's doing so well. And I was like, well, yeah, of course I wanted to go into, I thought about acting, but I did a couple of plays in school, but I think I just, you have to be, okay. I think there's a difference between wanting to do something and having that visceral need to do it. Mm-hmm. And that's what differentiates an amateur from an artist. I'm a great amateur of acting and I love to write, but I am not an artist. And it takes that all-consuming necessity to write or to act, where you'll put everything aside to do just that. And I don't have that rigor when it comes to those things.
So here's a question for you. In your blended family, you say, my large recomposed family, and they are all part of the cool things in my life, because you just love having this instantly big group of people in your life when your parents remarried. Can you tell listeners how many siblings you have? And just briefly what they do, because my question is, there's such a big group of you. Do you feel competitive in life with them because they're all accomplished in what they do? Do you feel like you have to do your share to keep up with them?
No. That's one thing, is that we're all completely different. So from my mom and dad, we had three. So my brother, my sister, and myself. Then my mom got remarried to my stepdad and had two more kids, so to my two younger sisters. And then my dad remarried my stepmom, and she already had three kids. So
it's like the Brady Bunch.
It is the Brady Bunch, but we all have our own quirks and perks and stuff. So I'm me. Noah is the actor. Matthew, my bio brother, he's twice awarded Clio, which is like the commercial Oscars.
And he just did this great video with Pete Davidson of Saturday Night Live, the comedian.
Yeah, he's done another viral commercial, which it's a lot of fallout now coming from that, which is great, and he's got some cool things coming out. But he's done some things with amazing things with Kirsten Dunst, with Jessica Chastain, with
Reese Witherspoon,
Kate Winslet, Kate Blanchett, so many for Vogue and other things. Yeah, he's doing other stuff now. But then there's Alex, my stepsister, who's Noah's older sister. She's like a equine vet, but she's taken over the whole of Northern California. She's like, if you have a horse, you've been there. So she's done well. And Aaron, so the younger brother of that brood on that side, he's a huge executive in HEB in Texas. He's like done so many great things. If anybody who's from the US or who's been to Texas knows HEB, it's the bomb. It's one of the best supermarkets. And plug.
Didn't even catch that. I was like, wow, I don't even know what that is.
HEB here, so it's cool. But and then on my bio side, then of course I've already said Matthew. Then there's my sister Allegra, who's a fashion designer. She was working for Balenciaga for a long time. Then after an accident, she sort of took a step back, and now she's in Puglia. She started an art colony in an old palazzo in Puglia. It's just stunning what she's done. Victoria, she's a great entrepreneur in her own right, and my sister Tabitha's opening up a hotel in Roquefort-les-Pins in spring 2026.
Here
in Roquefort-les-Pins, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So, I mean, this is what I'm saying. Anyone listening is going to go, oh, yeah, there's a lot of talent in this family. Like, you're all bringing something to the table. Are you all close and supportive? Is there any competitive nature?
No.
Does Noah, I mean, he was just nominated for another Emmy. Does he have, like, a big ego and he expects everybody to be like, hey, it's Noah?
No. He's the most, seriously, Noah is the most humble, kind, funny guy. And he's so sweet. And also, he went through the desert. He's been, he had his ER success, of course. But then it's been a long time where he was, not doing, well, he was doing lots of things, but he didn't have that success. And I don't think he actually, well, he has mentioned that he's very aware that he didn't actually realize how lucky he was because he got success so young, with George Clooney and with Anthony Edwards.
I have to be honest, I've never watched ER.
Well, to be honest with you, I haven't watched it either because at the time I was a snot-nosed university student.
Yeah.
I couldn't be bothered.
Yeah. I could tell you that George Clooney was in it. That's all I remember people talking about that, but I don't think I've ever watched an episode of that show.
No, maybe I'll do it one day, but then it'll be weird seeing him so young. And but now he got this well, he created his own opportunity, to be honest. And he wrote some of the pieces, the scripts. He's directing one in the new season, which is he's so happy.
What is the name of the show?
Oh, the new show is called The Pit. It's on HBO, and it's so good. It's actually a social commentary on the situation that American hospitals are going through, all the care workers since COVID.
He's back in another show about hospitals.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's I guess my stepmom, who was actually a nurse, a trauma nurse, she actually said, well, when you've learnt all those terms, why would you want to just not use them whenever you can?
Yeah. So do your families all get together and there's no issues between your mom and your stepdad and your all of that? What's the secret to that? Because, especially here in Monaco, there's a lot of second marriages and there's a lot of bad feelings that women and men talk about from their other relationships. What do you think the secret is to make such a happy blended family? Because sincerely, you're a very grounded and confident person, and it must come from that too.
Hands down. I mean, I think I was raised by two amazing women. My mom is a strong person. She was always very, strict with us about manners and about how to treat other people. And then when I was 16, just barely 16, I went to live with my dad and his wife, so my stepmother. And she never treated me any different than her kids. I mean, of course, they're her bio kids, so it's normal. But there was tough love. There was, oh, you want that? Go get a job. And it was everything I needed when I needed it. And I think that the biggest hint of who I was going to become was thanks to that tough love, but also the fact that you always are told to treat people with respect. Always, don't lose your temper. Never show people that you're furious at them, because you don't know what happened before. I remember that. She told me that one day. She says, you just don't know what has happened to them before they stepped into that room. What led them to saying that? So I think it's compassion, it's understanding, try and put empathy, mostly, trying to put yourself in people's shoes, and just don't judge. I mean, that's the most important thing, is you can't judge.
Did you flawlessly then sort of move from London to Beaulieu into a French system, and then it was easy for you to go to LA? Were there cultural differences? Were there difference with the way the students were that were difficult for you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I didn't know. I spoke perfect English because that's the only language you could speak at home. And I was lucky enough to have read a lot in English. So I had that. I had a head start there. But when it came to spelling, for instance, or American history, that was the American history bit was really tough. And I remember a couple of snide remarks like, that's not history. That's like yesterday. He was saying it. Let me tell you about history. So, yeah. And then, of course, some of the language, which the kids weren't always, you say things like, lift or elevator, those little things. So, but a lot of teenagers sniggering at you. But yeah, it was fine.
But do you think high school in LA is more difficult?
Well, it was different. I mean, there was, let's say certain things, the level was a lot lower. But that's just because there's a different emphasis on certain parts of education. So you can't, I mean, it's easy to criticize the Americans and say, well, you don't know anything about geography. It's like, that's the curriculum the kids are taught. So it's hard. I think I had a pretty good head start on people.
What about, if you leave the education side out of it, what about just socializing with young people? And was it different? Was it easy?
I mean, I didn't per se have a problem myself. I can see how some people will go through culture shock, but I was a little punk kid. So I had my music. As long as I had my music and I had my Doc Martens, I was good. We were in a little private school. It wasn't like we were in, some crazy giant school like you see on TV or in a movie. I was in a little school called Oakwood in the Valley, which was super, super nice.
If you look back at all these times, like even just up until your late teens, did you have any of those moments where you're like, wow, I can't believe this is my life? Because already by the time you would have been 18, you would have had some pretty genius experiences just being in different countries, being in the UK, being in France, being in California, being in the States. Did you ever have a moment where you're like, wow, like, I can't believe how lucky I am?
Well, I mean, when I was younger, probably not, because I just took everything for granted, like most kids, I think. But when I was growing up, when I was a bit older, I guess, with a bit more experience, I think some of the cool parts were when I was younger, let's say around 13, 14, was, going down, for instance, some of my mom's old family friends, and they'd take us down King's Road. And for us, that was like, whoa, and they'd know all the cool shops and everything. And then we'd go to my dad would take us to the Cannes Film Festival, and we'd be hanging out in a suite whilst he's doing, some work. And you don't understand what's going on until much later on in life. And you go, wait, what was that? Was I actually in that room when that happened? But no, I think, and not to sound blasé or anything, but I think as a child, you don't really understand how lucky you are. Like, I didn't understand how lucky I was growing up in the south of France until I left and lived in Paris after university for 2 years, and just, no offense to Parisians, but did not like it. I was like, I had the Paris syndrome. That's a real thing. Mm-hmm. So I had to deal with it.
Tell listeners what Paris syndrome, if people don't know.
Paris syndrome is basically, the term was coined by a Japanese scientist who basically was, because there was all these tourists who were going to Paris, and they were so excited to get to Paris, and when they got there, they were like, what? This is not what I was imagining. This is not, where are the artists, and which is exactly what I had. I had been feeding myself on Émile Zola's Belle Époque Paris, with its ups and downs and its beauty and all drama. And then you have Hemingway's, what we talked about before, the Movable Feast, and it's just like cafes and garrets and artists and inspiration, and it ain't that.
But is that what you were really hoping to find in Paris? What did you want out of that?
I wanted to go to Paris, and I wanted to go down. I wanted to. Okay, this is crazy, because another one of my favorite Zola books is L'Assommoir, which is it's terrible because it talks of alcoholism, but it's in this place in Paris where at the time they were doing a lot of the laundry. So I had this picturesque image in my head that'd be like flowing rivers. I mean, I sound like an idiot, but and it wasn't like that. The Rue de la Goutte d'Or is not what it was at Zola's time. It's different. So. And of course, the Champs-Élysées. I was looking for the Hôtel Particulier of all these famous Grand Horizontales, and where did Alexandre Dumas take his mistresses, and all and it's not like that. There's the drugstore there now.
At what point did you realize like how bilingual you really were? Because I'm sure people hear you talk and they're like, "Is she French?"
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think a lot of people have that. When I was growing up, it was a real asset. I mean, the old trick of standing in a lift, and people were talking about really rude things, and you just turn to them and could say something sassy in their language. But now, I mean, especially
you say something sassy. I can't imagine that. I just can't imagine that.
Yeah, there was a few times when I could have, I missed a good opportunity to be quiet, but that's toned down with age. But no, I think that we live in, this is one of the reasons we're so lucky to live in a place like this, is it's so multicultural. There's so many different nationalities, and it's kind of normal for everyone to speak at least 2 languages.
What did you think about your life and what you wanted to do? I mean, you already could speak a couple languages. You were quite cultured. What did you want to do with your life?
Well, like before I start on that one, it's like you have to say that life has a funny way of not coming out like you plan, like the best made plans of mice and men, right?
Yeah.
And so I was again obsessed with history and literature, and I thought, well, let's combine both, and I'd really like to be a vellum restorer. So I wanted to restore specifically vellum. Because that's the best quality books.
And you were serious about this?
Oh, yeah, deadly serious. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go to grad school and go to an English university and learn how to restore vellum. So that was, subject of great mirth with my dad, who's like, you're not going to last a day under there. And I was imagining sort of like this Indiana Jones sort of like sexy historian. And I think my dad was imagining me all hunched over with glasses, and it never happened.
What took you away from that?
Stars and bars.
Stars and bars. So how did you end up back in Monaco? Like, why did you come back here?
Well, my family's always half of my family's always lived here, and I came back to the south to spend my summer before I went to university in England, and I got a summer job. And I was interviewed by Annette, who we know.
Annette Anderson, who just retired after 35 years at Stars and Bars. Yeah.
Yeah, and who told my son that I was a troublemaker, and he brings that out to me every day. Hey, troublemaker. So thanks, Annette.
So how did that even happen, though? Did someone just say, hey, there's the American bar, sports bar, go and see if they need someone?
A really good friend of my stepdad's, he was now passed on, but he was a very eccentric artist, Renaissance man called Rico Zermenio. So he'd been an extra in all kinds of films, and he was one of those old-time character actors. He'd done films with David Niven, and he was really good friends with Cocteau. His apartment was a museum. He was friends with Armand, with César, with Cocteau, and so it was insane. His apartment was crazy in the old Nice. And he basically told me when I came back, he says, you have to go to Stars and Bars. Darling, everybody's going there. And he's friends with Annette. So he introduced me, he got me in a meeting, interview with Annette. And I think at the time they were pretty much, it was the place to work.
What do you remember from that? Because that was really earlier days of Stars and Bars. What was it like?
It was actually like a couple of months after it opened. So it was amazing. I mean, that was not the decision I would have ever thought I'd do. But once I got into that, and Kate and Didier and Annette and Patrick, the staff, that everyone was wonderful. That we were so tight knit. We were like this family, and we basically worked when we weren't working together. We were hanging out together, and it was amazing. It was.
So what were you doing there?
Oh, I was a waitress for about half an hour until I spelt a whole tray of frozen margaritas on this Italian lady's fur coat, and she was not impressed. And I was trying to be
Is this
polite.
a true story?
This is a true story.
Fur coat.
So after a while, I'm just like, look, because I offered to pay for it. I said, I had no idea how much it would cost. And I was like, well, if it's so terrible, then just shave it. And the guys at the table were in stitches. And Kate says, well, I can't keep you as a waitress, clearly. I was like, I'm sorry. She goes, but I can put you behind the bar. And that's how that happened.
And how long did you work there?
On and off, like 5-6 years.
And it was really a special time, I think, at the beginning.
Oh, yeah. No, it was amazing. It was, there's so many stories. We could do a podcast just about the stories behind the bar. I mean, we had some guys coming in late and they wanted to be served. And I was like, sorry, mate, we're off to the Raskas. And it turned out we knew who it was, but it was Bono and Edge. And I said, sorry, we closed.
Stop.
Yeah. But then they were really nice because when we went to the Raskas, they were there and they bought us a drink. So that was cool. They were very cool people.
Can you imagine that really happening that laid back anywhere else? The whole scene that you were there for those years?
No, it was a different, oh God, I sound so old when I say that, but it was a different time. I think also we were so in our little micro bubble. We were the team. So we were finishing our work as best we could, and we wanted to go and have our own fun. And there was no real, it wasn't because I was being rude or anything. It's just because I'm like, mate, I'll see you over there. I'm like, right now I'm washing a bar and not nice, cleaning out ashtrays at the time and stuff. So, no, but there was tons of stories. I mean, we go off to, then of course there was the Stevie Wonder, there was Prince, there was...
Stevie Wonder?
Up at Stars and Bars, yeah. It was like...
I know the Prince story. I don't know the Stevie Wonder story.
Yeah, he played up there, and gosh, I can't even remember. There was Kylie Minogue, or for the music festival, for the music awards. Was it the MTV Music Awards? I can't
The
remember.
World Music Awards.
World Music Awards. Yeah. I mean, there was always stuff going on.
And how would you describe Natasha Frost at that time? Who was she?
That was horrible.
Aside from spilling drinks on people's fur coats.
Well, I mean, let's just say I learned to tone it down later on in life. I was opinionated.
Was there something that did that shifted the way you thought about things, or do you think it was just growing up like the rest of us?
Well, there's the growing up bit. I went to go live in Paris for a couple of years and very disillusioned by that. And funnily enough, the first person I called when I came back in town wasn't any of my friends or anything. I called Kate, and she said,
Kate Powers.
Yeah, and she said, come back home.
Oh.
And I started working again. No, I had a bike accident, and that I think shifted a lot of things. You sort of realize that you can't keep on burning the candle at both ends, and start having a little bit of respect for your life and stuff. So that was a eye opener, to say the least.
Do you mean bicycle or motorcycle?
It was a scooter.
Scooter?
It was a heavy scooter. It wasn't it wasn't a Ducati or anything, but
Here?
oh, yeah, in Monaco. Like, I can see where it was actually on the port. Did I just do another plug for Ducati?
What was it your fault?
I think it was a lot of different factors, but obviously I was probably not being as responsible as I should have been.
And would you get on a scooter after that?
Oh yeah, I drive a scooter all the time. I mean,
Didn't affect you that way?
No. Gosh, no. I don't believe in. I think if you fall, you have to get back up and dust yourself off and get back on the saddle. There's no point.
Were you injured?
I was injured a little bit. Yeah.
As in, it's still something going on all these years later?
Let's say I won't be doing backflips.
Okay.
My back has had a little bit of a knock, and I broke my nose.
Do you really think those kind of moments in our lives do something to the way we shape our future, or even embrace today? That carpet, does it do something to change who we are?
Yes, I think no matter what happens, no matter how grave or how light the injury is, physically or emotionally, I think it's important to always take a lesson from it. And I do think it's important to sometimes come out of a trauma, again, mental or physical, and try and see what you've got from it. Because surviving anything, I know it's a very big cliche to say it makes you stronger, but I can't think of a single time that something horrific has not happened to me where something great happened right after that wouldn't happen before. I mean, if that other thing hadn't happened. And it's not to be too idealistic or anything like that. I'm not naive. It's just that for me to cope with dark times, the only way to do that is to know that better days are coming.
Mm-hmm. And when did you meet your husband? Because you have one of the best romance meetup stories. I mean, I'm sure your dad could write a film just on the meetup queue of your relationship with Roberto. How did you meet your husband?
Yeah, so the meet cute of my life was it was after a breakup. I was coming back from. It wasn't really a holiday as much as it was how do you say, a showdown with my ex.
Ooh, I love that kind of story. There's a lot of drama.
There was so much drama, and I was basically we went on this island because he couldn't run away.
So he couldn't run away? Is that what you said?
And we had it out. We just had it out. So this happened, yes or no? Yes. So we got it out. And finally he left. And
Can I ask a couple questions here just as you're saying that? Did you go to this island knowing like that was the discussion you were going to have?
Yeah.
When you look back on your life and all those like relationship dramas that you had, do you ever think like, I'm so glad that's in the past, I just don't have the energy anymore for that?
Well, it was a good way to handle it. I think I still don't regret it. And to this day, I called it, because it was a trip, I call it the guilt trip.
It's hilarious.
But so after all that was out, the person left. And I spent a few days by myself just to gather my thoughts and realize that, okay, I have to pick up the stuff when I go and move on. And swore off men for all eternity, be gone,
I hear ya.
creatures of darkness, etc. And I got on the plane, and it was a triangle flight, so we had to disembark when we got to it was Curacao. And when I got back on the plane, there was this guy sitting on the seat next to me when I thought I was going to be tranquille. And I didn't even look at him. I was just fuming, absolutely fuming by this intrusion on my airplane.
Yeah.
And also I noticed that he had already taken off his shoes, and I was just like, oh God, no plane etiquette whatsoever. And I was pesting. And then we were just taking off, and I could see the stewardess was giving him the eye, and sort of like, I could see her from the jump seat sort of, looking over and smiling. And when she came over, when the plane had taken off, then Roberto, so it was like, I put my earphones on, I put my book on my lap, just all the body language, like do not talk to me.
Yep.
And I heard him say to the flight attendant, "Oh, look at that! You can see the mountains of whatever, Venezuela or whatever it was." And so only on a clear day can you see that. And I was like, what a muppet. And she was just all like, oh. And so I look over at him and I'm thinking, wow, he's actually not half bad. So I'm starting regretting my temper. And then...
change of plans?
Yeah, change of plans. But then I see him, he's got a magazine on classic cars, I love. And he also pulled out a book on Vikings, which is also one of my things. So I sort of look up at him, and next thing you know, we're chit-chatting, and we did not stop talking for 9 hours. And by the end of the flight, I was pretty interested. Where
was he living at the time?
He was living in... he was actually living in Las Vegas, but he's Swedish. Mm-hmm. So he was flying back and forth between Vegas and Stockholm. So, we tried to... We sort of just met, and that was it, right? And then a year later... randomly, I don't know what happened. Randomly, I was in Paris because my sister had a grave accident, and so we were all hanging out there. And I see it was Skype time, so his name pops up on Skype, and we started chit chatting and reconnected. And he said, "I'll be over in a week," and he never left. And we married a couple of years later.
I always thought from the time you met that was it. I didn't realize there was a year.
There was a gap. Yeah.
And so not only are you married and have a family here, but you also are business partners together.
Yes.
What was the first business venture that you went into together?
Well, we came back from California, where Roberto had some very dear friends who had started a brewery called St. Ausha. And we were immediately so inspired because their capacity had doubled, tripled. They quadrupled the capacity of the warehouse and all the fermenters and stuff. So we came back and said, hey, we don't have one here. We started looking.
There were no microbreweries or anything like that?
There was small. There was one particular one which is doing very well now too. But we just thought we can do something here, which is very, California, very UK centric. And so then we approached a couple of people like Shane Hemingway. So I knew we had talked about that in the past, that he was thinking about doing a brewery and something. So we approached him for that, and he was really into it. And then he brought forth some F1 stars. So we had Danny Ricciardo, Jenson Button, David Coulthard. There was some famous cyclists, Tiffany Cromwell. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I wanted some girl power there. There's a lot of guys, and Tiffany was just beginning to do really, really well. Now she's crushing it. Mm-hmm. And Thor Hushko.
Sounds like you're hiccuping.
It's anyway, a lot of very, very top level athletes. And on the other side, we brought Roberto worked hard to bring him other investors, and Blue Coast was born. Blue Coast was thus born.
And it was just outside of Nice.
Yeah, it still is. It's in Saint-Isidore. It's one of the best breweries, in my opinion. It's got the best beers. The staff is amazing. It's run now by a guy called Predrag, who's doing a stellar job. And it's still going strong.
Were there any issues when you run a business like that with your husband? Because really, you two were behind Blue Coast. You did bring in financial backers, but it was your idea. Together, you ran the company.
Yeah, it was our brainchild. It was funny because I was very pregnant at the time. I remember they were putting up the sign and laying the asphalt, and the guys were horrified. I was like, they're pulling me away because I was 8 months and a bit pregnant. Yeah, we were there. I mean, we worked there nonstop on weekends.
It's a beautiful space, and you had the food
space.
trucks up there. That was fun. It was really fun.
It was fun. It was really fun to see it take off, and we put blood, sweat, and tears into that company, and we're so happy to see how it's doing now.
And what about Oath?
Oath Gin, yeah. Well, you know why? Why stop at beer?
Well, I just think it's funny because it's kind of along the same lines, but you with another F1 driver.
Well, that was the backstory. There is because we did our job at Blue Coast, and Tiffany was one of the ambassadors. She started dating Valtteri, and they have a real passion for gin. And we went to the dinner with them a few times at their house, and realized the collection they had. And then they just started saying, we were actually thinking about doing a gin. So because of Roberto and his experience in distribution, selling, fundraising, then and I just love the idea of the marketing and the brand creation.
Yeah, you're very good at that.
Oh, it was so much fun, and these guys are so much fun to work with. Tiffany and Valtteri are just such great people, and it's funny because I couldn't possibly do anything that wasn't 100% authentic. They genuinely have a passion for gin. I mean,
but she's Australian and he's Finnish.
Yeah, but that's why one of the reasons for Oath was because first of all, Valtteri has his family has an oat field in Finland, and Tiffany in Australia, in Stirling by Adelaide, they have these very famous red apples. So we're trying to find a story behind, make a product that would tell their story, and they have a genuine passion for gin, but also creating something which we called it's a New Western style gin. So it's not like London. It's not a dry. It's more fruit. It's infused with red apple. So it's not sweet, and the oats make it super round. It's a really interesting product.
But it would be a hard product to market because it's such a competitive field. Gin is. I mean, there's a lot of different brands, and how do you market something like that?
Well, I mean, first of all, we've got amazing ambassadors, Tiffany and Valtteri. I mean, they're amazing public figures. They're a sports power couple. Even if they weren't doing sports together, they're so cute together. It's ridiculous.
They really are.
I mean, you can't. This is like marketing on a tray. It's like, please.
Even if there were videos of them as a couple without volume, you could just watch them and feel happy. You're like, oh, I like this. Yeah. There's something nice about these people.
No, they're great, and this is again a passion project for them. And it's doing quite well. So there is a lot of gins on the market, like in Monaco alone. I know there's three to count. We're a Monaco company, but we are manufactured in Finland, and it's a whole different market. And I really believe that there's room for everybody. It's just how you sell your product and how you believe in it. It has to be authentic, and because the consumer sees if it's just for a marketing ploy or something, but.
When you have star power like that behind a product, is it easy to create some sort of, wow marketing event, or is it that's never been the goal with Oath?
Well, I mean, like with everything, you need a budget, and you can't just you have to be smart. So we use a lot of guerrilla sort of marketing, and we try and go viral with certain things. There's more and more traction because we have more and more distribution. We're going to soon launch the online European sales. Which sounds so simple when you just roll out of your mouth like that. You would not believe the hoops to jump through for that. So everything takes the time it takes, but we know we've got a great product, and we've got a great team, and we have really engaged owners. And there's just 4 owners, so it's we don't the meetings don't last super long.
But this is speaking of budgets. Let's move to Pink Ribbon because. I think there is this. Let's start it off this way. So, Pink Ribbon is a Monaco registered nonprofit association.
Yes.
Right. That you registered in 2011. And I think there's this idea that people look at Monaco. We have so many not-for-profits and so many great associations here. But I think the outside world looks at us and goes, "Oh well, they don't need anything. They all have money."
Yeah.
And all of these associations need money and funds and. I look at you and what you've done with, for example, the 5K walk every year. So just explain to listeners a little bit about why you wanted to start Pink Ribbon and how you first started off with your first event was the 5K walk.
Well, yeah. So the first event we ever did after the after the association was registered was actually our lighting, and that was in October 2011. So this year
What do you mean by lighting?
The lighting of the casino in pink. Mm-hmm. It started with the casino, only the casino. And that was in 2011. So this year in October, we'll be celebrating our 15th year.
Oh, fantastic. Congratulations.
Yeah. Then after that, we did the walk. So that was just around the time when the Monaco run was starting. I think it was 2 years after. I can't remember exactly. Sorry. But we just sort of hooked up like a pilot fish on their backs because they had all the setup and they had all the infrastructure. And we had zero money. I mean, Pink Ribbon did not. We have no government funding. We had no trésorerie. How do you say that? No cash flow. So they were very cool. They let us sort of jump on their backs, and then it became an annual event because they saw the people we were attracting. It became a family event instead of just. So it was something else for people to do. If for instance, one person in a couple is running, then the other person can do the walk, or It became a family thing.
But what is the motivation for you behind Pink Ribbon Monaco? Where did that come from?
Well, to step back, when I was in Los Angeles in my high school, we had to do community service. It was like you had to do something. So it was first come, first serve. So a lot of the kids signed up for planting trees or the cool things, and I had no idea because I was like off the truck from France. So I ended up working in every Sunday morning. I had to be there at 7 o'clock in the morning. It was at the LA Soup Kitchen, which was on Skid Row. It was not. I mean, people did not fight for that one. It was hard. So for the next years after that, I always did some community service when I was in university, just something you felt good about doing. And when I came back here, I put that aside. But a friend of mine was going through some IVF, and I realized that she wasn't getting any warning about the risks of IVF, bearing in mind that her mother had breast cancer and her aunt had breast cancer. So
is there a correlation between these things?
Well, IVF, obviously, with the hormones, is not ideal. If you have in most countries, they'll test you for the hereditary gene. So it's good to take précaution. How do you say it?
To take precaution.
Yeah. For if just in case, just like let's not bombard you with hormones to get pregnant if you have risk. I'm massively simplifying it. But and then I looked into it and I realized that there were so many people I knew who were affected by breast cancer, and that I didn't find that there was an easy stream of information for people, especially for Anglophones. And so I spoke to the hospital. I spoke to the Minister of Health at the time, who was Monsieur Valtteri.
Monaco, yeah.
Yeah, in Monaco. And I just thought, well, maybe I could do something about it. So I personally have not had breast cancer, knock on wood. But I just knew that there was something that was affecting an awful, awful lot of people. And it's something that I could do. So why not do it?
How has the association, aside from the event itself and the galas that you now bring out, how has the association evolved in terms of what it's doing with the hospital and the community? Can you share any sort of milestones? I mean,
I think that it became the walk and then the lightings was sort of it became a well-oiled machine after a while, and then we realized that there was a lot of interest in much more activity during October. And so you'd think, okay, job done, awareness is done. People are picking up the torch and doing their own events, which is wonderful. Other associations which weren't necessarily doing breast cancer awareness then did that also. So we thought that we should probably move on to fundraising, which was a crazy, crazy idea. But we have a voice and we have a platform and people know us. So it was logical that we try and give back to the hospital who needs help. Again, like you said before, people just assume that all the money in the world is here, but it's not true. And it's very, very hard to raise funds around here. So any help that we can do, we do. And yeah, that's...
So how many years have you had a gala?
Oh gosh, I can't remember the first year we did it, but we had Jodie Foster was our VIP. She was
I think that was 2019, wasn't
something like that. Yeah, I think it was. You're right. It was before COVID.
Yeah.
I remember it was before
Yeah.
COVID because then we stopped completely. And then we did. After that, we've done 3. So I'd say.
Well, wait a second. You can't just throw Jodie Foster into the mix and then not say anything. Why was Jodie Foster here? Because she got some special Pink Ribbon Monaco award.
Yes.
And Prince Albert, I believe, was at the film. We saw a movie together. Not Prince Albert and I. In general, there was a crowd of people. And I remember talking to Jodie Foster because her French is amazing.
Yes.
But how the heck do you get Jodie Foster to come here?
I asked. No, she had. I fell upon this film. My father actually, my father is on the Oscar documentary committee. So he told me about this documentary that he'd seen, and he said, "This is right up your alley. You're going to love it." And it was just when I started. I had been invited with like 4 or 5 other associations in the Principality to join the Committee of Protection and Promotion of Women's Rights. And this film, it was a documentary about Alice Guy Blaché, and who was one of the first people, man or women, film directors. And she had been completely erased by history. And this lady, the director, had she dug up all this information and made this really interesting documentary. And it was produced and narrated by Jodie Foster. So, not one to let an opportunity go by. So, well, maybe we could, who knows? Maybe we could. And Jodie Foster is an extraordinary person, kindness impersonate. She was traveling to Paris for Alexandra, her wife's photo exhibition in Paris, I think. And anyway, circumstances allowed it to happen. And we had a wonderful time. So it became a film screening. It became an awards ceremony. Then we had the dinner at the Hotel Metropole, and it was wonderful. But I just honestly, looking back on that, I don't know how I pulled it off because everything happened last minute, and trying to make everything seem seamless.
Are you good under stress? Can you cope?
I seem to do my best work when I'm under duress, but I will have some sleepless nights at the same time. My husband says, "That's your last event," and I say, "Yeah." And then the next day, I'm like, "Okay, what's next?"
But it's true that pulling off the gala. So one of your galas, didn't it have a James Bond theme?
It wasn't so much James Bond as we wanted to have. I heard about the salle médecin in the casino, and it wasn't used for events, and I could not figure out why. So I begged and groveled and pleaded, and we got the use of the salle médecin. And I thought, well, let's use it for some. I can't say gambling because it wasn't. It was fake games, but the idea was to have a gala in a setting that was reminiscent of the great James Bond era and the high rollers of the 40s, 50s, like even before. And it was gorgeous. It was an absolutely beautiful event.
And then you had another one?
Yes, then we had actually one before that was at the Hôtel Hermitage. That was Dare to Bear.
I remember that.
Dare to Bear. And I thought it was so funny and clever, and I think maybe 2 people got it.
But were you able to sell seats easily? Were people supportive of the galas?
Well,
were you able to get sponsors?
No. It's getting sponsors in Monaco is one of the hardest things, and it's kind of infuriating because well, in my case, because I don't, there's always other events to sponsor, let's say. So I can comfortably say that I have been completely self-funded, completely self-funded. So for a long time.
What? So, and let's talk about the event coming up.
Yeah.
October
11th.
October
Yes.
11th.
October 11th, Salle Empire. It's going to be, we've condensed the lighting, all the monuments, landmarks, lighting are going to be on that evening. And the gala is going to be the same night.
It's exciting times for you because as of 2024, Her Serene Highness Princess Charlene is the honorary president.
Yes.
What does that do for you and the association's, not validity, but what does it do for you?
Well, I mean, having Her Serene Highness as our honorary president is a huge honor. I mean, I know how much she's been asked to do certain things, and having the, like you said, the validation of her even noticing us is wonderful. I mean, it brings a lot of attention to our work, which is what we need, and it completely aligns with the other work she's doing. She's with, I mean, not, I'd say, children safety swimming is completely apart from breast cancer, but if you tie it into women's health, children's health, it's all about les gestes qui sauvent in every single sense. So it is aligned, and her team have been absolutely amazing, helping us too, guiding us sometimes when we need a little bit of advice. Again, it's not always easy to navigate the way things are done or should be done, especially when you're a bit rentre dedans, like myself. So it's nice to have people to guide you. It's nice to have mentors, in the sense that, of course, not Her Serene Highness, but Monsieur Valtteri was a mentor. Now that the current Minister of Health, Monsieur Robineau, has been very, very helpful. Everybody's been very helpful, really. I've never met anybody who's really sort of been dismissive in any way.
If you look at the Monaco that you knew when you first started working at Stars and Bars and the Monaco that you're a part of now, has the country changed?
I think it has, yes, for the better. I think that His Serene Highness Prince Albert has done so much for the image of Monaco, for the respect of the environment. I mean, groundbreaking in so many areas of sea conservation, plastic straws, fishing. It's given a different kind of credibility to the Principality, and I think it attracts a lot of the positive attention. Of course, there's still the glamour and the glitz and the beautiful cars and the millionaires, etc. But there's a lot more to Monaco than people think of.
So, because you have the connection with California, what do Americans think of Monaco?
Well, I mean, it's of course you think of Princess Grace, the American connection, the Irish connection. Hollywood glamour, wealth, tax haven, but there's also a lot of other things which are a lot less obvious, and I think that that's something that's so special about living here.
Do you feel a strong sense of community with the people that you call friends?
Yes, I mean, the people that I call friends are awesome, obviously.
No surprise there. Just, when you mentioned Princess Grace, did your father not work on some of the film restorations of Hitchcock's films?
Yes.
And with Princess Grace?
Yes. He was. He started with Vertigo, which was obviously not with Princess Grace, and then he did Rear Window. And actually, at one of the auctions, we got some of the stills, the cutting room floor stills, pieces of. No, it wasn't stills. Actually, it was pieces of film.
Wow.
That had been thrown on the cutting room floor during the editing. And we blew those up with photographer Ed Wright. Yeah, he blew them up into photo size, and we auctioned off those unique prints, which were done beautifully because they were done sort of in the grainy, sort of dark vibe that Hitchcock had in his film. So it wasn't all like, enhanced. And it came with a little piece of the spliced film.
Wow, that's pretty neat.
So yeah, my dad had all this lying around, and he's like, yeah, you can have that. And he also had he worked on My Fair Lady. He worked on Spartacus with Kubrick. Restoring, of course. All these films were going. All the original films, the celluloid was going to waste in the vaults, and my dad became this sort of pioneer of. Now it's all done, with computers and stuff. But back then, he would spend his days in the vault.
Wow.
Yeah, with the celluloid that was going bad, and they found treasures. They found Audrey Hepburn's singing voice when she was trying, because she wanted to sing in My Fair Lady, but they gave the singing. She had to. She was dubbed by Julie Andrews, who had the lead role in the Broadway.
So I know we're going to run out of time, and I have a bunch of questions I would ask you about film and your dad, but I want to go to one thing is a couple of things have happened in your life that you kind of have said, it was sort of your bucket list of things. One was you wanted to be in Forbes.
Yeah.
You were in Forbes Monaco in 2019. You spoke at the United Nations. You had always wanted to speak at the United Nations. I mean, you had an opportunity. I don't know how many people at Monaco or anywhere can say this, but you spoke representing Monaco at the United Nations in New York City, right? What was that like?
It was terrifying. It was weird too because I was so pleased, and I was greeted by the people working there, and they were all so nice. But I was by myself, and it's like that whole thing about, well, you know, if a tree falls in the wood, does it make noise? And I felt like you got this great, amazing event, and yeah, I'm happy. I'm so happy, and I'd do it again in a flash. But it was weird not to share it with anybody. You know, it
wasn't on social media. You can't share it that way.
Well, I mean, I couldn't take pictures of myself, and
right.
you know, it wasn't.
I get that. Yeah.
I got one picture that the person who's showing me around, and I'm sitting there like an absolute muppet, like in front of the Great Britain in the war room, they call it. And I'm sitting there with this Cheshire cat grin on my face, and that was it. And I had terrible hair that day. And then I got food poisoning the next day, so that was
you got the Order of St. Charles given to you by Prince Albert?
Yeah, that was something. That was wow. That meant so much to me, and I think my dad has never been prouder. my dad's a real he's an Anglophile, but I know this is not England, but for him any award is any distinction. And no, that was such a great moment. I mean, I can still see those photos. And
what does it feel like? Not a lot of us have had that opportunity, Natasha. What does it feel like?
Oh.
You stand waiting with everybody in a courtyard?
And it was funny because I was there with my husband, and they were guiding. No, the people accompanying have to go to this sort of penned off area. And they were like, Madame, you have to go there. And my husband was like, no, she's getting the award.
Very nice. So it's a moment you always remember.
Oh, it was wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And he comes up, he goes to each one and says... Prince Albert says a few kind words and gives the distinction. And it's filmed. And I could just see myself when I look back on the video. I have this look on my face. Like I look like a... You can't see my face, obviously, but I'm bouncing back and forth on my legs, not standing still for a second. I look like a child.
Is there anything else that you have on your hope to tick off on a bucket list?
Oh, yeah, there's a couple of other things, but I don't want to jinx myself. Oh, I'd like to. This sounds silly, though, but I haven't been to Japan. I really, really want to go to Japan. I want to go and, like, sleep on the rough medieval type tatamis and be a real, I probably didn't even say it right, but yeah. Well, actually, I wouldn't mind spending a couple of hours with a private guide in Tower of London too. Yeah, there's a couple of things I'd like to do. They're all nerdy things.
I don't doubt that you'll accomplish it. Listen, Natasha, I want to thank you for coming on Monaco Info, the podcast. It's been fascinating. I got to know you in a totally different way.
Oh, well, thanks for having me.
Thank you.